lines. Let me stand up straight. I look like I'm like cut off there or something. How are you? How about this Friday gig here? I'm just gonna, okay, there we go. Let me just make sure everything's working here on the side. Okay. Yep, looks good. All right, I'm gonna come back over here. I know this was super short notice for a lot of you, and it was for me too. I just decided to do a quick live video on these lovely lilacs. So I thought I'd share how to make lilac syrup, and if nobody shows up, that's okay, because I'm just going to post this and we're going to do it. It's going to be a very quick turnaround, and then it'll be on my blog and on Facebook. So no big deal. I'm just going to stand here for a couple of minutes and see what happens. I see I have one person viewing, and then we'll get going. This won't take us very long at all. So far, all I have done is I have 3 cups of water because I'm using a hot plate. I am just getting that to a boil, and then I'm going to add my sugar to it. And then we're going to talk about what we do with lilac simple syrup, and I'm going to show you kind of what happened to my lilacs last night. It kind of broke my heart a little bit, but we'll wait here just another minute. I have a couple of viewers. Cool. All right. Let me see. I do have my iPad next to me in case anybody can't find us and they need to send us a message. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes I think I've figured out the whole Facebook thing until they change it on me again. All right, sip of coffee and let's get going. Oh, important part of my day. All right, so let's get to it. Lilac simple syrup. One of my most favorite flowers and one of my most favorite things to make and use. And it's super easy. All you're doing is you're making a simple syrup, you're steeping your lilac flowers, and then for 3 to 4 hours, you're straining it, and then you're just storing your simple syrup. But let's get going. So like I said, I have 3 cups of water in my pot already, and I'm going to add 3 cups of sugar to it. It's almost boiling. I have it on high heat just because I'm using a hot plate. And I think this is one of mine that keeps switching on and off, so it takes it a little longer. So I'm just going to measure out 3 cups. So this is equal. So you're using equal parts water, florets, and sugar. So 1. It's going to take a while to get back. And then we're going to talk about what we need from the lilacs here. 2. And a 3rd one, we're going to give it a little stir around. I just want to get this done because this actually has to boil for 5 minutes, and then we have to let it rest for 10 minutes. So we're getting right to it like very quickly. And then we're going to take a step back here and talk about some stuff. So I'm just going to give this a little stir. It's all yummy, goopy. And then I'm going to try to remember to keep an eye on this. And once it boils, then we'll set our timer for 5 minutes. How's your week been? My week has been pretty good. It got really hot here this week, so we kept instead of putting the air conditioners in because it's really early for that, we just kept the blinds closed and kept fans on, and it was actually really kind of nice. The garden, I watered it twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, because I have raised beds. I just started. I just got everything put in. On Monday, I think was the last day that I planted. I still have a little bit to do. If you hop over to Instagram, I have that in my stories. I'm going to try to make more videos that aren't live videos. So maybe I'll start with like a little garden video and post that up just to give you a tour of the garden. And yeah, so I thought I would start trying to do more videos and not so many, like I said, not so many live videos. We'll keep our live video schedule. I have the DIY craft alongs coming up starting in June, which I'm excited about. So let me just plug this stuff over here. If you follow me on Instagram, then you'll see I took my china. These are my teacups from my china set and my saucers that I don't use. We use our china for everyday dishes, but I don't ever use these because, I mean, that's really a small cup for me of coffee. So I'm going to make pin cushions, and then I'm going to make some candles, and I'm going to, do the attach to the saucer. So then that'll be like a little pin cushion or a little candle or whatever. And then once like your candle's burned out, you can also clean this and you can use it like a little bird feeder or a little planter or whatever. The succulent would look really cute in that. Okay, so I've got my mom's as well. Don't tell her this is what I'm using hers for. Same thing. We use her china every day, and I don't use the teacups. Okay, so that's kind of my plan for today. Now, you have these lovely flowers that you pick, and they smell so good, and they're like my favorite, and they're like one of the first things, you know, other than like the forsythia, they come after forsythia, but they smell so good, and you want to preserve that smell, and this is a really good way to do it. So all I've done is I've picked all these, our friends were nice and said, you know, we're not going to be around, so the lilacs are about to, you know, stop blooming and stuff, and it's almost done. So why don't you go ahead and pick some? And I said, well, okay, and I'll make you some simple syrup and give that back to you, so we can have fancy cocktails on the deck overlooking the river this summer. So all you do is you wash these up, and you have to take the florets off of the stem. You don't want any of the green or any of the stem. Now, you know, sometimes it gets down in there, but what it can do is turn your simple syrup, instead of sweet, it'll turn it a little bitter. And you know what? They also say, I've read, just to taste your lilacs, especially if you have more than one bush in your yard or you have access to more than one bush, it's to taste your lilac and then pick from the one that you think tastes the best. I have just, you know, access to one, and I have a neighbor who has another neighbor who has one that I'm gonna probably make some simple syrup for her as well, and then make some for myself. So you just give a little taste test. They're edible, and I was surprised that they're not as sweet as I thought they would be. They're a little bitter, but like you get that lilac flavor. That smell is permeating inside my mouth and my nose right now. Okay, so you're just going to detach those florets from your stem, and you're going to try to make sure that you don't have any of the brown, you know, withered ones or whatever. But sometimes it's, you know, it's kind of one of those things that you just can't help. So I just try to make sure at least I get the stem and the green out. Okay, I have a cup in here. I need 3 cups total because we're doing 1 to 1 to 1. 1 cup, 3 cups sugar, 3 cups water, and then 3 cups of florets. So I have one in here. I have a 2-cup measure. I'm putting this in here. And what we're going to do is I pack those. You want to pack them in there tight. All right. So let me, can you guys see this really quickly? This is a pretty full bowl. Let me come over here. Anybody up? Anybody? Hi. Hi, guys. No comments today so far, but that's all right. That's not one of my usual. I just found a leaf, so I'm taking that out. So you can see this bowl is a pretty big bowl, and I have it pretty much halfway full with florets, okay? So it's going to take a lot, and if you don't want to do this much, just do 1 to 1 to 1. 1 cup water, 1 cup sugar, 1 cup flour. I'm just still waiting for this to boil. So what happened was I took my florets, I took my flowers, and I kept the ones I wanted to keep. I wanted like one little container so I could smell it, and it, you know, it sits next to my computer whenever I'm working, and it smells really good. So I took the rest and I put them in a strainer, and then I kind of gave them a little spray. And then last night I was picking enough for today, and then I wanted to put them in the refrigerator because I didn't want them to wilt overnight. And so the bowl of flowers came out really, really well. But what happened, I shoved these too far back to the back of the refrigerator, and they actually froze. And so I think I lost most of the rest of these. I can probably save some, but at this point I'm kind of like, I don't know if it's worth it because they're all mixed in with those wilted florets. And so it's like, I don't know that I really want to use that for simple syrup. So I might actually just put these in a bowl until they all turn. And then I'm thinking I'm just going to put them out in the chicken run. I'm doing some composting with the chickens this year in the chicken run. So I'm thinking that maybe I will do that with them. And then even if the chickens don't eat them, I can, you know, it'll smell nice and they'll compost out there. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're just waiting for this to boil. You want it to boil for 5 minutes, and then you want to take it away from the heat, and then you want it to sit for 10 minutes just to cool down so you don't cook your flowers. And then you're going to pour that water and simple and sugar mixture on top of your florets, and you're going to let them steep for like 3 to 4 hours. You don't want to go too much longer than that because the bacteria can, as the flowers break down, the bacteria can start growing and it'll turn your simple syrup. So 3 to 4 hours, what you're going to do is you're going to taste it. You're just going to take a little spoon and you're going to dip it in there and you're going to taste it. And whenever it comes to the taste that you like, because it'll take it, it won't take it long to absorb the lilac flavor. And then whenever it's as strong as you want, as long as you don't go past like 4 hours, then you're going to strain this through. I like my muslin. But if all you have is cheesecloth, just double over your cheesecloth and you're going to strain it through a colander or whatever you have. And you're going to get out all those bits and pieces of the flowers. And then you're going to put them into jars. You can do one big jar. Like I said, I'm going to give some of mine to my neighbor who was gracious enough to let me pick her. I don't have lilacs here, so surprisingly, it's an old farmhouse. I presume that at some point they were taken out here at the farm, the fishing lodge with the old farmhouse. So I'm going to do I'll probably do like some half pints and some pints. And then you're not going to can this. You're just going to stick it straight in your refrigerator and it'll last 2 to 3 months, if that long, because it's going to be so yummy. You're going to want to use it for everything. So my water's not boiling yet, so I'm just going to keep talking. And even if we have to go through the motions again, I'll show you how to do that. I'm trying to make this just a quick little video today. And I want to be in and out in 30 minutes. I'm keeping an eye on my time here on my iPad. So what do you do with lilac simple syrup, right? So you can, one of my favorite things to do is use it in beverages. So you can do an alcoholic beverage, you can do a non-alcoholic beverage. So I haven't ever made a cocktail with it before, but I'm thinking like something with vodka based. Lemon would be really good with it. And then some of your simple syrup to sweeten it up. And you can even garnish it with a couple of these little flowers. You could even, if you were with me last week on my normal Facebook Live and we did the foraging and we did the candied wild violets, you can actually candy these and you could probably just pop those on as a garnish. That's a lot of work. So it depends on how fancy you want your cocktail. You can also just add lilac simple syrup to lemonade or to your homemade tea. Like you can have like sweet tea or unsweet tea depending on how you like it. I'm from the South, so all we drink is sweet tea. So what I would do in that case is I would make my tea, and instead of adding sugar to my tea whenever it's hot, I would actually add some of this lilac simple syrup, and then I would taste it and see if I needed to add more sugar on top of that, which I can either add more lilac simple syrup or I can add just regular sugar. So the one thing you don't want to do is add sugar on top of sugar. So you don't want to make your tea sweet and then add in more sweet, because then it becomes too much, unless that's how you like it. So, okay. So those are kind of your beverages that you can do. The other thing that I like to do with it is bake with it. So, I'm thinking like if you could use it in a pie, like blueberry pie would be really good. Strawberry pie with a little bit of this and some lemon would be like a really good combo. Or a cake. You can make any sort of cake and just add in some simple syrup versus adding all that, using white sugar with it. So the one thing you want to remember with that, though, is a twofold. So you're making a cake and you want to use lilac simple syrup. So I'm thinking even just like a vanilla cake or anything like that would be really good, but you can get really fancy with this and do like a lemon frosting. You could use this in your frosting as well. And so like if you're doing like a buttercream or whatever and you have powdered sugar, you can just substitute a little bit of your liquid for this and scale back your powdered sugar a little bit. So that's what you want to remember. Said all this to say. What you want to remember is whenever you're doing substituting, you're substituting a liquid sweetener. So you're going to cut back your liquid a little bit, and you're also going to want to cut back your sweetener a little bit. So, like if you're doing, let's say you want to use a quarter cup of this for your sweetener, and I'm just going to make things up. You have a cup of sugar in there, you're going to cut it back, obviously, by a quarter cup. And then you're also going to want to look at your liquid and cut that back as well, because you're adding more liquid. I hope that makes sense. Okay. So I'm still not boiling here like I would like to be. It's just coming to a boil. So let's go ahead and set this on 5 minutes, just for the sake of everything. That way we can get through this in 30 minutes and you guys can run and go make your lilac syrup, because I know this was not a planned thing for us all. So this is going to boil for 5 minutes. You're going to set it aside for 10 minutes to cool. You're going to put it in. You're going to pour the whole thing in here once it's cooled for about 10 minutes, and then you're going to let it steep. But I would also cover it, you know, just because we don't want any pesky stuff getting in there. So I would cover it, and then you're going to let it just on the counter for like 3 to 4 hours, and then you're going to strain it. You can use the same muslin that you're covering it with. I'm just going to lay it on there, just like I would do my bread whenever I was letting my bread rise. I'm not going to, like, you know, sometimes whenever we're doing like our sourdough starter or we're doing like a fermentation, we want it to be kind of tight on there. This, you just lay it loosely on there. So that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to strain it, and then we're going to put it into our container that we want to put it in, and we're not going to can it, and we're just going to put it in the refrigerator. And you're going to label it really pretty and maybe put a ribbon on it if you're giving it away to somebody. But I would hold on to it because there's so much fancy stuff you can do. All right, anybody got any questions? I don't even know who's on here. Usually I have people who are like, hey, I'm here. So I don't even know. But I think for the sake of time, this is, that's what we do. I don't want to take up too much of your time on this Friday morning. It's hot here again. I'm sweating. And I got to close up. I opened the blinds up so we'd have better lighting in here. And I'm going to get these, I'm going to do the pin cushions and the candles today. And I'm going to get those listed in my shop. And then I actually made a list of what I'm doing today. So I'm going to do a blog post. I'm going to introduce you guys to the chickens, since I haven't really done that yet. And I am going to, I'm going to make some pillows. Let me show you. So I'm starting this craft along that I hope you guys will, you know, be able to join me for. We're going to start those in June, and I think I'm going to do those every week on a Tuesday evening. And we're going to make a, I don't know if you can see that bunting up there. We're going to take our own fabric. I bought that one, but because it was hand dyed. It's like organic cotton and all that good stuff. But we're just going to use whatever fabric we have. We're going to start with like a little simple bunting like that. You don't have to have a sewing machine. I'm going to try to do things that you don't necessarily have to have, like, you know, sewing machines for, or like technical stuff. So we're going to do simple things like, you know, make a bunting. And if you don't have a sewing machine, what do? There's ways that you can make this without having a sewing machine. So that kind of thing. But I'm going to show you while we're, we got 5 minutes on the, well, we got about 3 minutes, and we're going to turn that off and set it over here. And then let me make room for that real quick. And then we'll pour it on here, and then we'll be done. Okay, because then it's going to steep on my counter. So, but anyway, look at this. I want you guys to see this. So I have that bench. I don't know if you've seen it or not, but I have a bench from my husband's grandmother's house, and it's sitting in our kitchen. And at some point, I used to have pillows on it. And I don't know what happened to the pillows. I think they're probably still in storage. But I also collected all this stuff. This is from the Downton Abbey exhibit in New York City. I got a couple years ago whenever we were, probably last year actually. Maybe I went and bought it then. But anyway, I used to go into the city a lot on my own and just do things. And I'm going to put this ticking fabric on the back of it. And then it'll be like pretty much a full-size pillow. So that's one thing I'm going to do today. And then I like to collect things like these simple little kitchen towels. And this one's from Cape Cod, which is one of my favorite things. We just canceled our trip to Cape Cod this year because of the pandemic. So I think what I'm going to do with this one is probably just zip it along that line. And then it'll have an opening down here, and I'll put the pillow stuffing in there. And then I'll just probably maybe even try to put a zipper in there. And then it'll just sit like that, like Cape Cod, right? So it'll remind me of some of my favorite places. And then I have these old sugar, they're very delicate, these sugar bags, right? So I'm just going to leave it just like this, and I'm going to back it with this ticking. So it'll just be a cute little pillow, right? I've got two of those that I'm going to do. I have this one, and I'm going to I'm going to back it with this pretty yellow floral stuff. Oh, there's my little timer. All right, so we're going to turn this off, and we're going to put this here. All right, and I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes. Oh, got a good little facial there. All right, so I'm just going to make that into a little pillow as well. I'll figure out which side of the, probably that side of the sugar bag, right? So you can leave it whole, and you can, like, because I'm lazy and I'm not really good at sewing. So yeah, we'll just have it, and then it'll zip it, and then you know, maybe I'll figure out some way to do a drawstring here, because that would be really cute to have it like a little drawstring pillow. So that's kind of my projects for today that I'm going to work on, and we'll do stuff like that with my crafting. We'll do easy things, and then we'll get to larger stuff. So I found like some really fun planter ideas, like old chandeliers, turning them into a planter that you hang up, which would be really cute, and using table legs for garden art and stuff. So we'll kind of build from smaller, little simpler projects to larger projects. I even have, let me step off camera really quickly. I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I thought this would be really fun to show you guys. Have you ever seen the little flags before that people make? And they put them on like the little dowels, or the little, you could even do like a little craft stick. We'll do some of those. We'll do little easy peasy. Again, if you have a sewing machine or you can hand stitch or whatever, we'll do that. And if it's not, if you can't, or you don't want to, or you don't have a sewing machine or whatever, we'll figure out, you know, we'll do it without sewing. So that's kind of what I'm thinking in terms of some of these craft projects. And of course, I'm open to discussion on whatever you're thinking. If there's something that you'd like to do, or you'd like to learn, or you just want to make along, I just figured it'd be nice to make along with other people. You know, I like crafting, but I also like crafting with other people. So we're going to make that more interactive platform. It won't be here on Facebook Live. It'll be on a different platform, and it'll be more interactive, where you can see me, I can see you if you choose. You can talk to me if you choose, kind of like a Zoom or something like that. So anyway, that's that. And what else did I want to tell you? I think that's it. Tomorrow we're doing ricotta. Let me talk about that really quickly. I'm making ricotta from whey, because I'm going to make mozzarella tomorrow morning. If you haven't made mozzarella yet, or you aren't comfortable doing that, I do have the videos here on Facebook and on my blog, so you can go over and you can watch that and make your mozzarella. And then I'm going to use the whey that's left over from making mozzarella, and I'm going to make ricotta with that. You can make ricotta just using milk, but I always make my mozzarella and then I use my whey to make ricotta. So then I'm kind of using the whole product. And then whatever's left over, you'll, you know, feed to your animals or whatever. So we'll figure that out. And I think that's it. I'm going to hide inside today, and I'm going to try to stay cool, although right now I'm a little hot. We set up some lights, trying to be a little bit more professional for you guys. And this is, I guess, my little test run. How's it going so far? You guys good? Yeah? Give me a thumbs up. That's cool. Okay, so what do we got left here? We got about 5 minutes left. So let's go ahead, and all you're going to do is you're going to take this semi-hot liquid, and you're going to pour it onto your flowers. You know what? I might just drop these in here and then pour them back in so I can stir it. This isn't normal, but because of live TV, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do it this way, just so we can, for the sake of timing. I just want to try to cool this liquid off, so we can get this going without frying my florets too much, right? And there's going to be probably a little bit of that, but that's okay. And then I'll pour it back in the bowl, and then I'll bring it over. I'll show it to you guys, and we'll be done, right? Do you guys have any questions? Any questions, any ideas on what else we should be doing? I just found out yesterday that, and I'll talk about this, I guess, tomorrow too. I just found out yesterday that most of my summer gigs were canceled. I had a bunch of live stuff in person stuff scheduled, and unfortunately, you know, it was one of those things that we pretty much knew was, you know, it had the potential to happen, but until you get the word, you know, we weren't 100% sure, but it just all got canceled, which frees up some more of my time to craft with you guys. So, which is why I'm going to do some more videos and stuff, just because, you know, I have the time to figure out all that. I just didn't feel like I had the time to figure out the video end of it, other than this live stuff. And if you've been following along for a while, you know how long it took me to figure out the Facebook Live stuff. So I've got the time to do that now. So that's what we're going to do. And we're just going to have fun with it this summer. Okay. I've got a crackpot soap class coming up. It's supposed to be here on the homestead. I'm thinking about how to do that and, you know, how it's going to look. If I can still have it on the homestead, or if it's going to be just a video, or if we're going to Zoom it together. I'll figure it out. It's in the middle of June. So, okay. So, I'm glad that we did this because I forgot to mention that your simple syrup is not going to be clear because we're adding these florets in there. So don't freak out. if you look down, you'll see how though it'll keep getting dark. It'll get darker and darker. Let me turn this off. And the longer you steep it, the darker it's going to get. So let me walk around here. I don't know. Let's see. Let me do it this way. I don't know. Let me hold it up there. I don't know if you can see, but it's starting to turn brown. It's going to get brown. It's going to be a brown simple syrup. So just keep that in mind. I've got this all over me now. That wasn't. Sorry. Back to the camera. Not a good thing either. So don't be worried that it's brown. It's just going to be brown. So keep that in mind whenever you are using this as well. So like if you're trying to do like a clear vodka drink, it's going to be a little tinted, right? Okay, so let me just show you. I see a flower down, or a green down in there. You can see it's pretty liquidy. Those flowers have kind of wilted up a little bit, and that's okay. That's what it's going to do. You're going to cover it. You're going to put it on your counter for 3 to 4 hours. You're going to strain it through some mesh or a double cheesecloth to get out all those bits and pieces of lilac. And you're going to put it in your mason jar. And then, or, you know, whatever container you want to put it in. It doesn't have to be a mason jar. I just have mason jars. Whatever container you want to put it in, label it, of course, lilac simple syrup, and then put your date on there. And then you're going to stick it in the refrigerator, and it's good for 2 to 3 months. And that's it, people. That's it. Okay? So let me wrap this up. I'm going to do that. Anybody have any questions? I'm going to, I'll put this stuff on my blog as well. So maybe the chickens will be tomorrow, and maybe this lilac simple syrup will be today. That probably makes sense. Once it's done steeping, I'll take pictures of that, so you'll see it in the jar, so you actually see what color it looks like. So that way, you know, we're all good. My hands are very sticky, and I'm going to say good day, happy Friday. And if you have chickens, it's happy fluffy butt Friday. Okay. All right. So let me walk around here. Unless anybody has any questions or anything. All right. So I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow for ricotta. All right. Have a good day.